take the best day that you've ever lived, but times it by infinity, and that's what dying is like. There's a lot of laughter. I don't know if he was making a joke. I think that he was like, where do you think you got that from? That came from me. I saw, God showed me where a generational curse had started in my family, and it was a generational curse of lust and divorce. God 100% wanted me. He reached for me a lot. He chased after me, he really did. I just didn't reciprocate it out of my own anger or my own worldliness. I felt his hurt because I didn't want him back. And he sacrificed so much for me, and I felt that, and I felt sorry. So I'm learning the ramifications of what happens when you do that, and that was hard.
Well, I'm John Burke, author of the New York Times bestselling book, Imagine Heaven and Imagine the God of Heaven. And this is the Imagine Heaven live series that I'm doing in between seasons of the Imagine Heaven podcast. So if you haven't seen that, I hope you'll go back and watch the first 10 episodes. I take the about 40 years of research I've done, interviewing, studying over 1,500 cases of people who clinically died and then were resuscitated and had a near-death experience. And I'm showing how the commonalities of those experiences overlap and align with the Bible. So I hope you'll go check that out. Well, I'm super excited about this interview today that we're actually going to do live with Riley Huddleston. I was researching for a book I'm writing right now, and I came across this YouTube reel that was posted just a couple of weeks ago that Riley did, and I saw it about an accident she had at the lake and a near-death experience, and I realized she's up in Dallas-Fort Worth, not far from where we are, and we contacted her and we decided we would do this together because of some of the things that she was feeling the Lord was telling her to do. I can't wait for you to hear it because it's really an incredible story with so many lessons for all of us to learn. So welcome, Riley. Thank you so much for meeting me and agreeing to kind of tell your story.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to be here and speak with you. So.
And you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and you have a social media marketing company.
Yep.
You run.
That's awesome. What I'm doing by day usually.
Awesome. Yeah, and married.
Married for 2 years now, almost.
Okay, newly married. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. We're just building a life and enjoying every second of it.
Well, and so you had something happen 14 years ago.
Yep.
When you were 19?
Yep, I was 19. It was in 2011. So
yeah, and so it's taken a while for you to process and get to a place where you're willing to share it.
Yeah, it took me a long time to come forward and talk about it. It took me 7 years to even tell my family about it. So I've known that I've needed to speak, but it's time now.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you more about that in a little bit, but first, why don't you give us a little background of what happened leading up to the day of the accident?
Yeah, so I'm newly out of high school. I'm just a year. I'm trying to figure out college, and I'm in that season of life. It's a confusing time for everybody usually. But I had gotten a day off, and me and my roommate at the time, we get invited to go to the lake on a friend's jet ski. And so we both ended up having that day off, and we headed to the lake, and it was an amazing day leading up to my accident happening. We ate food, we listened to music, we laughed a lot. We ended up, before that even happened, and I actually fell asleep on an inner tube or like a floaty out, and we all did. We all had our own, and so we were napping and
relaxing.
Totally just having a great day, nothing crazy. I always preface when I'm saying, or when I've told my story, I've always said it wasn't anything crazy. You know, young kids can be crazy, but it was nothing like that. No drinking,
drugging, nothing like that.
Nothing. Just a
chill
girl's
day on the lake. And so you were taking one last, you said last time we talked.
So actually, my sister, we were all napping and my phone started going off, and it was my sister on the phone. And so I got up and I answered the phone, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm at the lake," you know, just, we were cutting up, in other words. And as I was on the phone with her, my roommate and our friend, they were actually like, "Hey, we're gonna go on one last ride around." It was getting right about sunset. And I'm like, "Hey, I gotta go. I don't want to miss the last joy ride." And so I actually had to swim out to them to get on the jet ski because they were pretty far out there. And I got on the back. We did a joy ride around the lake. It was Lake Cypress Springs is where we were at.
So there are like 3 of you on this jet ski?
Yep, it was a 3-seater jet ski. And we did our joy ride. And then right before we came up to shore, we actually kind of took like a sharp turn and we ended up falling off and laughing. It was not anything serious at all. And as we went to get back on, I was the last one to get back on. And the jet ski, the best way I can describe it is it's like I stood still and the jet ski came out underneath me.
It's like you climbed on the last and then they gunned it?
No, it wasn't going very fast. It was actually, we ended up doing testing and it was 13 miles an hour. So it wasn't even anything crazy. Just, you have to have a certain acceleration to get it to go.
But it was like the jet ski just went out from under you and you fell right behind it?
Yeah, it's like I just dropped down. It's like I stood still and the jet ski came out underneath me and I just dropped down into the water, and the water pressure had hit me and hit my body, and there was just blood immedially.
So the jet's coming out of the jet ski.
Mm-hmm. Yep, hit me, and the best way to describe it is it was like a scene from Jaws, where blood just started to surround me, and I
had it like literally made a hole in your.
Yeah, I had a gaping hole in my body. Yeah, but I was still underwater at that time, so I just.
You didn't know.
Yeah, I knew something had happened, but I was processing. And they actually didn't know that I had fallen off at first. And so when they realized, they heard me screaming and they turned around. They weren't very far, but they turned around and my roommate had jumped in the water and she grabbed the back of my life vest and super strength threw me up on the jet ski. And that's when I realized, like, I've got some very serious injuries. In fact, I remember looking down and it was like a water faucet of just blood pouring out. It was like just very gory, very not out and very not normal. In other words, it was.
Are you in shock at this point?
I think I was. Yeah, my reaction was to want to stop the bleeding, obviously, but I also was just like, this is not good. This is. I knew pretty much immediately that this was not good at all. And as we were coming up to the shore, I'm bleeding, and I realized chunks of my organs and intestines are starting to fall out of my body.
Gosh.
And the people from the shore had heard me screaming in pain, and they had called the ambulance already. And so
it was that obvious.
It was that, yeah.
Something's terribly wrong.
From the moment it happened, it was pretty much like, this is not good. And everybody knew that, I think, because obviously people from the shore calling, they must have seen something, or maybe my screams, but by the time I got to shore, we were really right outside the buoy where the accident happened. It wasn't far at all from shore. And just from that little bit, I had already lost like mobility in my legs. Mm. So they had to pick me up and my legs were just dragging, they were carrying me to this concrete picnic table. Water pockets developed over my lungs. So where the amount of air that I had in my lungs at that exact moment was all I could get in and out. So it was like I was breathing through a straw.
Because water had come into your gut cavity?
Mm-hmm. Water was all in my...
when they laid you down, it started to press on your lungs?
Yep. And so I felt like I was suffocating. Oh. And I started to gasp like this. I mean, that was all I could get in and out. It was very, very minimal amount of air. And right about that time, everything got real slow. Everybody around me it was chaos. People were running around and panicky, but things started to slow down and I started to process like, sorry.
It's okay.
This is not a good sign.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
You started to realize at that point that you were dying?
Mm-hmm. I knew that this is it. I had that moment of realization, okay, my life is coming to an end. And I was trying to come to terms with that and accepting that was my fate. I knew that that's what was happening. And so I'm watching everybody else chaos, trying to save my life and get me help. And I knew this isn't going to be good. I can see all of it happening in my brain as I'm telling you, like very vividly. It's not something that you forget, especially when you start talking about it. So,
well, and I mean, I've heard that a lot, that people who've had near-death experiences, it's not a memory that you lose. It's in your spirit. It's in your soul.
It becomes a part of you in a weird way. So I knew, I was coming to the conclusion like, okay, this is dying. This is what the dying is like. The ambulance showed up pretty quickly from my point of view. It seemed like right away. And they loaded me up and they put me in the back of the ambulance. And when they did that, they shut the doors. And as soon as they shut the doors, boom, I'm over my body. And I realized pretty quickly, like, oh, that's me. This is happening. It was a very weird feeling because I knew that was me, but I also was detaching from who that was.
The body?
The body, yeah. It was like
because you were still yourself?
Yeah, I was still me, but I also am looking at me and it's like, okay, I know that that's supposed to be me, but I'm here. So what's, just a detachment feeling like, okay, and I'm still making that noise, that sound.
Your physical body of the trying to get air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's important, I think, because you were free at that point. Your body was still
suffering,
struggling, but the Lord had already taken you
exactly
out of your body.
And that was something I thought is, I just went from being in the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life to nothing. Like it was a really weird.
What were you feeling?
At that moment, I just remember the pain was not there. That was the biggest thing in my mind.
So much pain.
It was so painful unbearably painful and panicky because I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
To being able to breathe, I mean, it was almost like a relief feeling. I remember it being like, oh gosh, like I could breathe again, you know? And so as I kind of started to, my thoughts were like really realizing what was going on, I realized like, okay, I'm dying. My body's here. I'm not hurting. Shortly after that, I start to ascend into what looked to me like a hole in the sky.
A hole in the sky?
That's what it looked like to me, was just a hole, and light was coming out of the hole. But it looked like a hole. It wasn't a dark hole. It was a light.
Was it big?
Yeah, it was, I mean, it wasn't huge, but it was big enough. To me, it looked big, but then the closer I got, it kind of got, you know, more narrow.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really, the light was beautiful, even the light that was coming out of this hole. Mm-hmm. And I was enamored by it. I remember wanting to go towards the hole, and but also being present that my body was here, but I was being drawn, in other words, to somewhere else.
Did you know where?
No. I had no idea. At that moment, I had no idea what it was really weird, because I was living in the moment so much, but I was also definitely processing.
You're still yourself.
I'm still myself.
Still thinking.
Yes, exactly. I'm processing, but I'm like, is this really happening? Like, this is happening. And I'm so sure that it's happening, but it's unbelievable that it's happening, even as you're experiencing it.
It wasn't like a dream or... No,
it's very clear, very vivid. I'm more sure that happened to me than I am sitting here with you today. That's how real it is. Yeah. It's way more aware, way more, I don't know what the word is, just awake. You're fully awake. It's like you were asleep and you're fully being awakened, is what it felt like.
When you're on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Or even just traveling to the other side. Once you are like, you know, the way that it feels is it's like you felt like you had this heaviness, and when you shed your body, you're like fully awakened. It was like your body was like a cap. Mm. You know, you could only, I don't know, it was just the weirdest feeling. It was like
constrained.
Constrained, yeah. That's what your body feels like.
And now you're free.
Yep. And so I'm starting to travel to this, what looks like to me a hole in the sky. Mm. And I start really, as soon as I start like truly ascending, I realize, oh, God is real. This is where I'm going. And that was one of the first realizations after my body and my spirit separate is, oh, this is God's world. This is what I've heard about. This is real. Earth isn't it. That was one of the first, it was like God made himself very known to me almost right away.
And it was just an intuitive, knowing?
A knowing.
And what was your belief or spiritual background or understanding before that?
So I had heard a lot about God and religion, but I don't really know how to explain it. I wouldn't say I was a believer. My parents, my mom's one religion, my dad's another religion. And they, split up, and we just kind of never talked about religion in our household. I knew my mom believed a certain thing and I knew my dad believed a certain thing, but it wasn't they just couldn't really decide, I think, what they wanted us to believe. So we just didn't talk about it. Mm. And, I was, God, I think, had tried to reach out to me through different people in my life, friends and school and a whole plethora of ways. But I just believed I'm a good person, and that feels like a lot. I'd been through a lot in my life.
What do you mean?
Well, my parents, they separated when I was younger. I was, I think, in 3rd grade. And so I got uplifted from my home and moved to another state. And, my parents, now that I'm an adult, I realize they did the best that they could. But as a child, I was very confused. I had that household where, one parent doesn't like the other parent, this parent doesn't like the other parent. And to me, it felt like, well, you don't like this person and you don't like this person. Well, that's me. So both of you hate me.
Oh.
So I felt like
rejection from
rejected.
both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even though I know that both of my parents love me as a child, that's what it felt like to me. And I just had a lot of, I think, anger, and I didn't understand adult matters. And so I was just kind of a confused person, a confused
and you told me
adolescent.
Before there was a lot of chaos.
A lot of chaos, yeah. My mom remarried, and, that marriage was hard. And, it's hard to say, because now that I'm an adult, I see that all these people were good people. My parents, I love my parents. They're good people.
Yeah.
My step-parents they're good people. It was just, from my point of view as a child, it felt like all you guys are worried about is each other and not me. And I just felt like kind of abandoned in a way. Not that they wanted me to feel that way. They would never want me to feel that way, but
right.
It was chaotic. It really was. It was a split home, and you got states in between us, and my dad wants one thing, my mom wants another, and then just marriages, my mom and my stepdad's marriage was a lot, and it just led me to be a confused person and a confused teenager, and I didn't know what I felt. I didn't know where I stood. I didn't know what was right and what was wrong, not in my morals, but in a spiritual sense. And I also felt like, God, if you love me, why is there so much turmoil in my home? Why are you making me go through this if you're who you say you are?
Yeah.
Just not understanding, And so leading up to my accident, there were so many ways that God tried to reach me.
You see that looking back?
Oh, yeah. And I knew, even when I encountered God, I knew there was no question. I knew he was trying to reach me. Even through friends, I have a childhood best friend, and I remember us talking about God, and I was like, I don't even know how to talk to him. I don't even know. She's like, well, let me show you. And she prayed for us. And I think those were ways that God was trying to reach me, but I had too much. I was putting my own pain in front of that. It blocked me from being able to see things for what they were in that season of my life. As I'm now
you're knowing God is real.
Whoa, okay.
How did you know that?
I don't know. It's just hard to explain. The best way I can tell you is it was like God put a USB drive in me and showed me things and revealed not just himself, but a lot of truths that are to come.
So as you're traveling through this tunnel, or it's like a tunnel of light.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's just,
you're just getting this download of information, of knowledge.
Yep. I'm being shown visions. I'm being shown, because this is the weird thing. When I'm being shown these things, till this day, it felt so real to me. It's hard to know if that is, it doesn't, my worldly mind says, okay, you can't be in two places at once, but God was showing me things where I'm two places at once. I'm ascending. So this whole time I'm ascending, but I'm also having these experiences. For instance, God showed me really just that Jesus is real, is what I believe he wanted me to know, is that this is about me. Jesus walked on earth. He had his time. He's your savior. That was just, I got these, and it probably doesn't make any sense to you, but he showed me bread. I knew that he was the reason, I guess, that I'm getting to experience these things. In other words.
That's why you're getting to go there.
Mm-hmm. So he started out with that. He's like, first off, this is me interpreting it, but he's like, the reason why you're able to do this is because Jesus did this for you.
It's interesting because Jesus said, I'm the bread of life.
My gosh, yeah.
So I'm wondering if
I don't know. It's, I'm still processing everything that has happened. I'm still trying to figure out, some of it, what it all means, because a lot of it is like, I don't know why he showed me that. That's just what he showed me.
And was that a new idea that Jesus actually lived on earth?
To me, yeah. I had no idea. That's how I really knew nothing. I would even go to say I didn't even know that Jesus, I knew the name, but I knew nothing about anything. I just, anytime it really got brought up, I just strayed away from it. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what I felt about it. I just didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to learn about it. I didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. I just knew nothing. And so how can you know where you stand with something that you know nothing about? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if I would say I was a non-believer, but I definitely wasn't a believer. I was just kind of
indifferent,
yeah. I just didn't know, and I didn't care to know.
And yet now you're in this tunnel of light.
Now
I
know, yeah. Now I'm more sure than I was even sure that I lived a life on earth. This is more real to me than what life I just lived was.
Wow.
Which is a very overwhelming feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to understand.
It is, because even talking about it or reliving it is, words don't.
Well, and Riley, we've talked about how it's taken you a while to tell it because of that. And I told you that's, having studied 1,500 cases of near-death experience, it's common.
Yeah.
Takes usually about 7 years for someone to process it.
That's about right on track for
me. To be able to talk about it. And I think the reason is because, I use the analogy, is as if we were living this experience on a flat black and white painting on the wall, and exactly. All of a sudden you're brought out into a whole new dimension, that you knew your flat world, and now you have another dimension, a third dimension, you experience it. And then you're put back in the flat world. Exactly. Which was less real because it had less dimensions than this world. The life what you experienced. Yeah. And then you're trying to explain 3 dimensions, but in 2-dimensional words.
Exactly. That's perfect.
And I think that's exactly why people, and it's a sacred experience too, right?
Yeah, it's definitely.
And people kind of look at you and you think
no one understands.
Thinking you're crazy.
Yeah, people think I'm crazy. Yeah.
So that's why many people. I'm curious, did you even know about near-death experiences before this?
No.
Nothing about
Nothing. Nothing. I knew nothing.
So when you're having this experience, you're not thinking like, oh, I've heard of this.
Mm-mm. Oh. No, not even a thought in my mind. I had no idea what I was experiencing. Just what God was showing me. Mm-hmm. That I knew. I mean, there was no question. I was like, okay, my vessel's back there. My body is on earth. I'm detached. Oh, Jesus is real. I'm in God's territory now. And he's just started to show me truths that I believe are truths. And the very first thing was that Jesus, he was the reason that I was able to even be going to heaven, and that he did his time. That's my interpretation of it now. But at the time, I just knew, okay, Jesus is the reason I'm able to I'm doing this.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And you knew nothing before that.
Not anything.
But you know what's wild? I've interviewed Hindus who knew nothing and came back knowing that same thing.
It's fascinating. It's incredible.
God is God.
God is just, what are the words you use for something so amazing and that he can do these things?
Right.
So I'm being uploaded with all this information. And another thing that he showed me was, I started to, so a little back knowledge, when Facebook first came out, I was on I guess it was a family page. Somebody created something and I ended up seeing a picture of a distant relative, like great, however many greats, I'm not even sure. I've tried to find the picture, but I can't find it. I'm sure it's somewhere, but I knew that it was someone in my family. Like it was a picture of one of our descendants and somebody was like, oh, this is a picture of our great grandpa.
Grandmother?
It was grandpa. It was grandpa.
Oh,
it was
grandpa.
Grandpa, yeah. And
you said was it your grandmother who was into genealogies and doing lineages and ancestries?
Yeah, a little back history of that is my grandma ended up sending all of us a whole history of all of our lineage for as long as she could find. I mean, we have like a big black notebook of,
wow.
It's awesome, honestly. My family, I think, has been wanted to stay connected in that way. But I saw, God showed me where a generational curse had started in my family. And it was a generational curse of lust and divorce. And I feel like he showed me this because I was somebody who was very affected by that exactly. So he showed me where it had started. And I saw that great 7 times, however many times, grandpa. I saw him as if I was his wife, and he was having an affair and I had basically encountered where it had started in my generational line. And it was so real to me, that experience, that I thought I had lived that life. I thought that I didn't know what to make of it, but it was very real, this experience. Like I felt like that had happened to me.
So how did you know it was your
Just because I had saw the picture.
Because you had seen the picture and you had seen your grandfather, so you knew.
Yeah.
And so, but
I recognized him immediately. So it was very weird because I felt like I was living
an interaction.
Uh-huh.
What was the interaction?
It was just, I remember him. It was it's an image, or it is an interaction, but they were in a kitchen, and I was upset about an infidelity that had happened. And there was a lot of arguing. So I'm living this, and I'm feeling the emotions of this encounter, but I also, it goes in my mind like, oh, wait, this is my great grandpa. or however many, so it was weird because in the moment I was feeling like this had happened to me, but then I remembered me, and I remembered that I had saw that picture not that long. It was like in 2010 that I saw the picture, and now this is 2011. So it was like a year prior I saw that picture, and that's the only way I knew, well, wait,
it wasn't
I'm being
your
shown
past
something.
life, it was your ancestry.
Right. Yeah, I'm being shown a relative's experience. This isn't my experience. And then it's like I'm back ascending, and he's showing me the next thing that he,
and was it just that one? Mm-hmm. Or did you said it, you told me before, it like rippled?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as I have this encounter, as
with
they're
Grandma
arguing,
Seven.
With Grandma Seven, they're arguing and talking about how hurtful and, just all those emotions of that come with having a partner that has lust and adultery and things like that. All of a sudden, I see it ripple into other, like her kids and their kids and it wasn't always like, oh, because the great times 7 grandpa did this, now the son's going to do that. It wasn't like that. It was just a pain, a heart pain that had carried, and maybe some people understood it, maybe some people acted on it, but it was there in
generation
to
generation.
Yep, all the way until it got to me.
And you experienced it going generation to generation?
Yep, but as a ripple. I don't know how to explain that, but I experienced it.
Did you experience each person like you did Grandma Seven, or
no? Where it started was the most vivid. And I just felt, I experienced what it felt like to go into each generation until it got to me. I experienced the ripple itself, the tear into the next generation. I felt, I don't know how to explain that, but so I experienced an actual, what felt like my life, where it started, but then I felt and experienced the ripple effect, like actually felt it. I don't know.
Did you feel like there was a lesson in that, or something you're supposed to take from it, or why did you think
I'm supposed to break it?
Break the generational curse.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd never read the Bible, had you?
Mm-mm.
So in Exodus chapter 34, when God is revealing who he is to Moses, he says, I'm Yahweh, the God of compassion and kindness. I love to shower loving kindness on thousands of generations of those who love me. But I don't leave the guilty unpunished, and the sins of the parents pass down to the 3rd and 4th generation.
That makes perfect sense.
And and some people think like, well, why would he do that? Why would he punish children for their parents' sins? And I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think he's warning us about the way the world works. It's kind of like, don't walk off the roof, you'll drop to the ground. It's gravity.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're shown this. You're still traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going fast?
What's crazy is I was going fast, yes. It happened fast, but then all these things
are happening
simultaneously, yes.
And it's like you're traveling fast, but then you're in this other experience.
Right. It's like I'm going both this way and this way. Mm-hmm. Does that make any sense?
It does to me.
Okay.
Only because I've heard it. I've heard it so many times. It's not, we can only have linear experiences.
Right, yeah.
But on the other side,
not like that.
It's not like
that. It's not like that. And so I'm being shown Jesus is real. He reigned. My family, one of probably many, but just that one specifically of my family, where a heartache started in my family. And then I get shown, well, let me preface this by saying, so at a certain point, I start to kind of banter with God. I'm like, okay, so you're him, you know, you really are. Yeah, you're the big deal. And
you told me that's kind of your personality.
It is, yeah. I love to laugh. I'm a big jokester. Most of the time, I'm not going to be caught talking about a whole lot of seriousness. I think laughter is medicine, and it's helped me through a lot of really dark times in my life.
Yeah.
So that's more my personality, what I
gear towards. I think that's an important point that people don't realize, is that when we leave this world, we're still ourselves.
Us, yeah, absolutely.
Completely.
Like more so, if you can wrap your head around that, more so than even here. Because we get hurt here and it changes us, and we kind of go back to like how we started, how he intended us to be, and who I am. And my family would vouch for this, but who I am is a very loving, fun, big on laughter, but I have a really big heart, and the world had made me not that way as much. And more so guarded way more guarded. I had walls higher than you could imagine, as I'm sure a lot of people will experience. Yeah. All that was gone, and I was free and experiencing just awesome. Even all these things I'm being shown. You know, knowledge is fun. When you learn something, it's amazing. So not only knowing that wasn't it, that life on earth wasn't where it ended, was awesome. God showing you all these experiences was awesome. Even though they weren't always fun. I mean, learning there's a generational curse is not fun, but it was awesome. To know, to understand.
Okay, so let's keep going on your journey.
So, okay.
You're starting to banter with God.
Yes, I am. I start to make some jokes. I'm like, you're really him. Like, you're that guy. And he shows me.
Is he speaking to you?
Not yet. He's not speaking to me yet, but he's downloading me with information.
Okay.
And he shows me an image, which is just going to sound crazy, but he shows me an image of a comedy club in heaven.
Okay. What? A comedy club in heaven?
Yes, there are people.
What do you mean by an image?
Well, I guess image, I don't know if image is the right word, because it's a vision. It's like I'm there.
So it's like suddenly you're there.
Suddenly I'm there.
And where were you?
And there's a stage. It's dark. People are laughing. There's a lot of laughter and a lot of sounds coming out of it. But it's a song, but everybody's laughing. And there's someone up there. And I'm back far enough where I can't see who it is. But the purpose was that he was showing me, like, I don't know if he was making a joke or if he was saying, this is where you're going to be. I'm not sure, but maybe both. But he showed me that. And I thought, I think that he was like, where do you think you got that from? That came from me. Laughter and humor. And that it's a language, and some people's love language. And
I think so many people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Like, we think God is just stoic and so
serious
all the time. And
he's fun.
He's the one who created every pleasure, every joy,
That's what I felt from him.
And laughter and humor is one of the highest forms of communication.
That's what I felt like he was like making me laugh back. He's like, you're so funny. You got that from me here. Like that's the way I interpreted it.
And did you really think that there are comedy clubs in heaven?
Yes.
Why did you know that was heaven?
I don't know how to explain it, but it feels like there is. Do I think he showed me that to be funny? Yes. But do I think that that's actually there? Yeah, I do. And he showed me a lot of different images of, I don't know, is image the right word? It feels like an image because I have a vision of a specific moment. So I say image, but it was an experience.
Like you were there?
Mm-hmm. Like
so you
I was
experienced
there.
it. Kind of like you experienced your great-grandmother,
right?
Number 7.
But there's like a significant image that when I think about it, I think about that. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I say image because I can see the surroundings of what it looked like. That's what's like burned in my brain.
Of
but
what
I was
heaven
there.
looked like?
All of it. I mean, yes, like with my grandparents, the things he showed me of heaven. He showed me the comedy club, which I thought was hilarious, to be honest. I really did think that was really funny. But then he showed me there were people and pets.
So he's now showing you heaven.
Yeah, I'm in heaven.
You're in heaven.
But I'm not in heaven because I'm still ascending.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm both. I don't know.
I think that's possible. Like I said,
I'm there and I'm not there.
Yeah.
And I always have said.
But it was an experience.
It was an experience. All of these things I felt like I lived them, but then I was traveling. So my worldly mind says, how can that be? But it was so real.
Can't here.
Yeah, it can't be here. But so I'm looking around and it's like Earth, but just beautiful, more vibrant, more green, but then there's colors that don't exist here. There's things I really just am seeing nature. I mean, but there's people and pets, and it seems like everybody's to me, it was like everyone is on a mission. They're doing something. They're living, in other words.
You saw that happening?
Yeah. But they're also, I say they were singing, but their mouths weren't singing. Their spirits were singing and all harmonizing, but also all working. It was unbelievable. It was indescribable. They were living
life like we live life.
Like a real life, like doing things and playing with animals. And I could tell they were walking with purpose. Like they were on their way to do something. But they were all making this amazing, beautiful orchestra, harmonizing, but everybody sounded different. Every soul, like the pets sounded different than the people. The people sounded different than the trees.
So the pets there are there?
Mm-hmm. All kinds of pets. I just saw all kinds of pets. Just all.
And they have a song as well?
Mm-hmm. And the flowers.
And the flowers have a song?
But they're all harmonizing.
So they're different. They're each individual.
And there was instruments that aren't here that I recognized that were not here. I'm like, whoa, that sounds awesome, but we don't have that
but
here.
But you never heard it here. And you're hearing music?
Yeah, I was hearing music, but I got the vibe that was just how it was there. It wasn't like distracting, or it was just the way of how it was. It was like, there weren't words for me. Like there were just sounds that sounded like worship. Felt like everybody was worshiping God without words.
But without words.
But with lots of music and sound, and everything was unique. And something that God showed me is that who you are is exactly who you are in heaven, just more your real self. And you're going to have, that God gives you these spiritual gifts. And I think that's what those people were doing. They were using their spiritual gift. I don't know what they were doing, but they had purpose. And God revealed to me that He gives us a spiritual gift on earth, and we choose if we want to use it or not. But you will use it in heaven, and you'll have so much purpose in that.
So it doesn't stop. It continues on with the gifts we've been given to develop them and use them. Yep.
And another image that He showed me was there was people, say you love to hunt, They were hunting in heaven, but they weren't hunting an animal. They were hunting, I don't even know what it was, to be honest. It was like an orb with wings and eyes and glowing. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was...
Hunting like to kill?
No, they were just hunting it.
Kind of like tracking, like a game?
Tracking it, yeah. They were tracking it is probably the better. But they were using stuff to try to catch it. I know I sound insane. I know this is crazy. I'm doing my best, but
no. Well, I think that's fascinating. You told me before that your stepdad is a hunter.
So I thought.
Do you think that's why you were shown that?
Mm-hmm. I do. I thought about him
when you saw that.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh,
he's gonna love this.
He's gonna love this. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Wow.
And so.
And
they had so much purpose in that. Like they were doing it for God. For whatever reason, God needed this thing and they were getting it. But it was fun and it was purposeful. And there was just so many enlightening little things like that. Like if you like fall, you can live in a place where there's fall. It's like one street over, it's winter, one street over, whatever.
You saw that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just saw different seasons,
like locations of different seasons.
Mm-hmm. But all the time.
And is this a city or what are you seeing?
Yeah, I am in it. Everything there was, the colors of everything was like out of this world. Nothing I've ever seen. It was so beautiful. But it looked like Earth, but just more beautiful. I didn't see a lot of buildings, but I got the feeling that I was I was somewhere that he wanted me to see. But I didn't see, when I'm talking about like the fields and the people, there wasn't any buildings at that point. There was just people living in a beautiful, what looked like a beautiful earth to me, but was more beautiful. I just remember it was like, this is so much like, it feels like Earth, just better and bigger and more beautiful. And I didn't expect that. I don't know what I thought. I don't even know if I ever thought about it, but I do remember still, I'm like, it was so much like this, but better. But I will say he also showed me an experience or an image of a wall that was as high up as I could see and as far as I could see. And it was see-through, but I couldn't really see. It was translucent.
The wall was translucent?
Kind of, yeah. It was kind of translucent, but it had jewels. Like every diamond or ruby or like gem that you could think of, but maybe even some that don't exist, were on this wall. It was amazing. And it had gold elements to it, but it was kind of translucent looking. I know. You're like trying to follow me.
No,
it was amazing.
No, because
it was unreal, John. It was like holy.
Mm-hmm. And did you have a sense of where you were?
Yeah, I mean, I knew.
Like what that wall was?
I didn't really know because I didn't see a gate.
And no significance to it?
Not really. I mean, I just remember looking at it and being like, this is a barrier. That's what I remember thinking. This is a barrier. It's a beautiful barrier, but it's a barrier. I didn't see any way in or out. You
didn't see a gate or a archway or anything like that?
Nope, just the wall.
But these gemstones in this wall. And did the wall, was it solid?
Yeah.
So it was like made of rock, or what was it made of?
I don't know. It I'd never seen anything like what this was. But every detail on it, like, I don't know, you could just tell it was perfect, which nothing is ever perfect, but this was perfect. Like, just the way that it was made was perfect, in whatever it was made of was perfect. It was magical.
So when you told me about this, I asked you, have you ever read Revelation chapter 21? Yeah, and you said
No,
you hadn't.
I haven't.
And
I still haven't. I mean,
yeah, so I want to read it, because you're describing the wall of the holy city of God.
mm-hmm.
And that's what John saw when Jesus took him into heaven. And he's up on a very high mountain looking down, but he's describing the wall around the city, and there are 12 gates, but they're really more like archways.
Yeah.
With like this pearlescent material in them. That's
a great pearl. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I can see it.
Yeah. So here's what John says, because he's trying to describe, I think, the same wall.
Mm-hmm.
He says, the wall was made of jasper, and the city was pure gold, as clear as glass.
What the heck?
You had never read that?
No, never.
That's exactly what you were trying to describe.
Yeah.
The wall of the city was built on foundation stones inlaid with 12 precious stones: jasper, sapphire, agate, emerald, onyx, carnelian, chrysolite, beryl, topaz. I can't even say that one.
Yeah.
Jacinth, amethyst. The 12 gates were made of pearl, each a single pearl, and the main street was gold as clear as glass.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like iridescent. Is that the right word? It's like,
I don't know.
I don't know, but that sounds exactly like it.
But it's
I didn't see any gates. I was just.
But maybe that's why you felt that wall was a barrier at that point.
Yeah.
Because it is the entrance into the holy city. It's the wall around. And it says, the angel measured it in Revelation 21, it says it's 1,400 miles long in a square and 1,400 miles high.
It was as high and as long as I could see from where, but I was also standing like flesh. I mean, I was standing
close.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I was, I couldn't touch it, but I was like, my feet and the beginning of the wall were at the same level.
Oh, okay.
So it was very gigantuous to me. Yeah. I was like, whoa, this is a barrier. That's what I felt.
So was this the point at which you told me you had a life review is this the point, or is it?
Oh, actually, so the life review, after God revealed himself to me, I had a life review. And
what was that like?
It was hard because he showed me all the love that I had ever encountered in my whole life. From the moment, like things and people that I didn't remember, their smells and their, just them, like things I didn't remember what they looked like, what they smelled like, what they sounded like. I relived all that. He showed me. It was
the same kind of re-experiencing.
Mm-hmm. And
are you seeing it too, or you're just re-experiencing it?
I'm more re-experiencing it, but it's kind of the same thing. Like I'm ascending, but I'm also being shown all the love that I had ever encountered in my life. And then he showed me, and this was something that, so some back knowledge is I'd always wondered, and I'd asked God probably 3 times throughout my life. And I didn't talk to God very much before that, but I did ask him if if you're real, why would you let people die the way that you let people die? How can that be good? You know, why do you let these people, horrible things, the way that people die? And then I remember there was some tragic events that, you know, had happened. I knew some things that had happened to people, and I always had wondered that. And there was 3 different times that I'd asked that question. And he'd showed me how my death affected my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister. My 2 younger brothers, they're still children at that point, so maybe they just hadn't. But he showed me those people, and he showed me how my death affected the rest of their life.
So this is kind of a flash forward?
Mm-hmm. So a flashback and a flash forward.
Okay.
And he shows me that my mom was very angry. My death made her very angry and how that affected her. He showed me that my dad turned to unhealthy coping. You know, he was still a hard worker and things, but he would turn to alcohol to cope. And then he showed me how me passing actually stunted the spiritual growth of my brother and my sister. And knowing all of that, I looked at them like they were children. I was like,
what do you mean?
I was like, if only you knew. I understand that this is going to hurt you. This is how I felt about it. I understand that this is going to hurt you, but you have no idea what's awaiting, and this is going to be awesome. I had already come to that conclusion. As soon as he revealed that he was real to me, I knew, I just had this hope that I just knew something amazing was coming. And so as I'm having this life review, I look at people on earth and my family like they're children. I'm like, you just don't get it, but you will, because you're going to be with me soon. I knew their sadness. I felt their sadness. I felt things that they were going to experience. I was so aware, but also it was such a higher understanding that you're like, but I'm not going to suffer there with you. Like, if you knew what's waiting, you wouldn't be sad. You wouldn't let that affect you that way. You wouldn't stunt your life. You wouldn't let these things prevent you from growing. You would know God and have hope for the future.
So this is fascinating, because you didn't know God, and now you're like thinking,
I know all these things.
You'll know God. It'll be great.
It'll be great. We're going to live together. It's amazing. It was amazing. And he answered my question, because I'd always wondered, why would you let people die? You know, and I realized he showed me that the way that we die, we're not there for. My body is having its own journey, still suffering. You know, at some point I do believe that my heart stopped in the back of that ambulance, but my body was going through one thing and I'm going through a completely different experience. That's amazing. I mean, the best day of my life, the best experience I've ever experienced in my whole life.
And you went through a tragic death.
Yeah, what you would think to be was horrible, but...
You know, I think that's so important for people to hear, especially in light of some of the tragedies that have recently happened.
Yeah.
You know, to realize what you're picturing that happened may not be their experience at all.
You might be, this is the real truth. You might be watching someone suffer, but they might not be there, because my body was suffering. And sure, I might have been there briefly, but I wasn't there. And I was having this whole separate experience. And my family was going to be affected, thinking that I suffered a horrible death. I mean, I was gutted.
Yeah.
I lost my lower intestines, my gallbladder, my pieces of my colon. I was gutted like a fish falling out of my body. And my family thought that was horrible, you know, and it affected them, but it wasn't like that.
For you.
For me.
I think that's so important for people to hear.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was the opposite of horrible. I didn't want to come back. Even though I knew coming back meant my family wouldn't suffer in those ways, I did not want to come back. I wanted to go and be with God and live my purpose. And to me, it felt like, y'all are going to be here so fast. To me, it felt like tomorrow is what it felt like to me. Not that there was time on it, but that's just how soon it felt.
Because time just works so differently on the other side.
Exactly. So to me, it felt like no time.
And that's why you said you looked at them kind of like children, like, you're making a big deal out of nothing.
That's exactly how I felt. I'm like, y'all are going to do all this stuff. And you're going to realize how silly that is, because this is so awesome and I want to be here. This is amazing, you know? So that was something that God answered me. I'd always wanted to know. And I've said this, and I want people to know that God uses the way that we die as a way to reach somebody. And
He told you that?
He showed me that. It was like a knowledge that was downloaded to me. He wanted me to come back and, I think, tell that and speak that.
In those last moments of suffering, He's actually
using your vessel to reach somebody for eternity. So.
Well, that's my story. I was an agnostic until my dad was dying. And when he was dying is when someone gave him the first book that coined the term near-death experience. It's like late 70s. And I read it, and it started me on a journey of trying to figure out who God is and coming to faith.
It's so beautiful to think, if you had the opportunity, if God was asking you, John, if I take you from this world and use you to the way that you die to save somebody for eternity,
I would do it in a second.
Yeah. If you love someone, you'll do it. But
the other side is like, from our point of view, there's loss, but there's no loss.
That's just I've always said this.
There's only gain.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like Paul said. He said, to leave here and be with Christ is much better, but to stay with you is gain for you. So I don't know which to choose.
That's exactly it. It's selfishly, it's like you don't want to live without your loved ones. And I feel that way. And I know, I've experienced it, and I even feel that way. But I'm also here to say, don't cry for them. If you're going to cry for you, because the experience of dying isn't what people think it is. And I think we're afraid to die because we're afraid of the unknown.
Right.
But the unknown is amazing.
Well, and it's so good to hear you say that, because, and many others, that I've interviewed who have said it was the best thing. People say to me, oh, that was so tragic. And they're like, no, that was the best day of my life. Which we just have such a hard time understanding.
I know. It's like, take the best day that you've ever lived, but times it by infinity. And that's what dying is like.
But I think
at least heaven, the experience of heaven.
Right. But, what I think God told you, that last act of dying is actually His act of love for others through this vessel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. It his poetic love, but I think it's also, C.S. Lewis said, God whispers to us in our pleasure, but he shouts to us in our pain. And, I was going along, quite honestly, and I was doing so well. I was like, I don't need God. That was my attitude. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
And then when I feel the pain of my father's death, then I'm like, something's not right. This was not my plan.
Yeah. You're like, wait,
Wait, I'm God and this is not my plan. So what's going on?
Yeah.
But that's often, it takes that many times.
Isn't that something, to that realization?
So going back to the life review where you experience these different experiences of love in your life, what were you experiencing? Like, is it all the way back to your birth, or is it, and is it moments, or is it the whole thing?
It was moments. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water.
Go ahead.
Some tea. It was moments. It was all the moments in my life that were made up of love, whether it was someone that I loved or they loved me. Like, even as a baby, I remember seeing people that loved me and knowing that they loved me and remembering that they loved me. And there was a whole life experience of just the parts of love. Like, he really wanted me to know that I was loved and how much I was loved, and not just by him, but he sent all these people to love me. And I think he showed me that because maybe I had felt unloved in my life. Because
of the chaos and all that.
So that was very.
And so he was showing you, like, boom, boom.
From the moment, from the moment you were born, he was love, 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 love. I mean, all kinds of people.
Through all these people. And did it go all the way up to?
It went all the way up to the very last phone call that I had with my sister.
And what was that?
I mean, she was like, I love you, be careful. Like, she was worried, but it was out of love. So it was like, it all flashed before my eyes.
Oh, wow. What were some of the poignant ones that you remember?
I remember I guess it's my mom's, I guess it's my great aunt. I remember just her voice and her, I mean, this was like I forgot what she looked like. And I remember her face and just her being so happy. And I don't know if something about me being born was like healing for her, because I think she never was able to have children. But I saw that love had welded a piece of her heart, me being born.
And this is as a baby.
This was as a baby. And there was just moments with my parents and my siblings and even friends, parents. There was all these moments of love where they actually loved me and God had sent them in my life. And I was able to remember, like, there was a friend that I had, and we were in the back of a truck, and he was like, I forgot that this had happened, but my friend's dad was just saying, I know he saw my circumstance for what it was. And he's like, you have such a bright light. I don't want you to ever let the world dim that from you. And I forgot that he had said that. I don't even know how old I was, probably 12, maybe 12, 13. But that was one of those moments that he said that out of love. He saw maybe me suffering or something, pain, and he said that out of love for me. Like, because it was one of my childhood good friends, so her dad, and anyways, he knew a lot of my circumstance.
That was her dad that said that to you?
And I forgot all about it. So there was...
And he brings that back, and you're re-experiencing it. But are you also experiencing what he's thinking?
No. It was just from your
vantage point.
I could feel the emotions. I could feel the intent, that the intent was out of love. Like, God made their intent so clear to me. I could feel it. But I didn't see from their point of view just the intent behind it.
Right.
And there was a lot of that.
Wow.
Just little moments of my life that I was like, wow, I forgot about that, or I didn't even remember that, or, it was just a life review of love for me. That's what I experienced.
Well, that's not every life review.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they're varied. Why do you think God was showing you all the points of love?
I think, like I said before, I think I struggled with I knew that my family loved me, but I felt unloved, and I think it made me a little distant to God even, because I'm like, if you love me, nobody loves me, that was my...
And kind of like he was saying, no, I do. And look, all these points in time that I was loving you through these people.
Yeah, from the moment you took your first breath to the very last moment, I sent all kinds of love in your life.
1 John 4 is all about love. And it says, we love because he first loved us. Which means that he was showing you his love through all of those, little points of encounter. But we only experience it filtered through hurting, broken humans.
Yeah, it was very healing. And that's something that I carry with me today, because I am very hard on myself. But I realize I have a lot of love, and I realize love when I see it now, whereas maybe I didn't before. Live life differently, and I see it differently now. I've just been shown this magnificent wall. I just know that it's resembling a barrier, and then I'm back and I'm ascending, and I'm getting a lot closer to what looks to me like this hole in the sky, and it's beaming light, and I'm ecstatic. I'm pumped. I'm starting to realize that I'm getting closer to the destination that was headed to. And I'm really excited. In fact, I remember being like, let's go. Like, I know all this stuff. God is real. Heaven is real. Life didn't just end. My life's just beginning. And I don't have to suffer. And my life, like, everything's amazing. Joy, happiness. I mean, all the most beautiful emotions times infinity you're experiencing. And the closer that I'm getting, the
is it closer to the end of this journey, this tunnel or whatever you're in?
It's getting stronger. Like, the intensity of love and
is increasing.
It's increasing. Yeah, it's like.
Did you think, like, I'm going to heaven?
I don't know if I even thought of that. I think I just realized I was coming to my destination. But the feeling, the pouring into me that I felt, like just love and acceptance and truth and happiness and laughter and, I mean, just the most peace and holiness. Like, it just was intense, but like infectious. Like, I just wanted more. I was so excited. I understood what I was leaving behind, and I was okay with it. And my eyes were, let's go.
Straight ahead.
Yeah, I get it, and I hate that. I hate what I'm leaving behind, but I can't go back there. That's what I felt. I can't. Now that I know the truth, I can't go back there. And I go through this light, and it's real bright when I go through it. And it wasn't the kind of bright that hurts your eyes. When you stare at the sun, you're like, It wasn't that kind of bright. It was like a beautiful magnet type of bright. It was like engulfed you and embraced you, and it felt warm and loving. And I don't know, it was beautiful. And it was just, this light was like, no words, really, like no words exist that
so
really
you're
do
now
justice.
Out of this tunnel or whatever you're traveling in.
Or I'm like, yeah, going through it.
Oh, going through it.
Yeah, I mean,
like, have you stopped moving now, or
no,
are you still?
Not yet.
You're still going. Okay.
So as I'm approaching what seems to be like the bigger gist of this light, the emotions are getting just so intense, and I'm so excited. And then I go through this light, and all of a sudden I'm in this space. I don't know, there was nothing there, but it was a space. And the first thing I did, I mean, aside from seeing I'm just in this like white light, I'm in the light. Like that probably sounds really cliche, but that's what it felt like.
That's where you were.
Yeah. I'm in the light, and I looked down, and I noticed that my body was still my body, but my skin was like kind of see-through-ish, kind of, but it was still my skin, but it was a little like transparent looking kind of. But then I noticed I have a scar on my leg, and it's all the way across my leg. And the scar was gone.
You noticed that?
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like,
interesting.
The scar's gone. And then I'm kind of just taking it all in, like, okay, well, what now, you know? But there was such a hope for the future. I was so excited. It was like, I knew what was going to happen, but I didn't know what was going to happen. But I was excited for whatever was about to happen. Yeah, I don't know if that made any sense, but that's what it felt like. And so I was just excited. And then all of a sudden, another light is coming from above me now. Instead of me going to the light, this light opens up and it starts coming to me.
What did that look like? It looked different than the light all around you?
Yeah, it was different. It was like this new light came from somewhere different than where I was at. And as it got closer to me, it was similar in the sense of like the lights beamed off of it, and even just like being in the presence of this light, I could feel, I don't know, love, like radiating more from this light that was coming down. And as it got closer, I mean, it had more, it's like I was in this white space light, but this light was like a sunset, but way more beautiful than any sunset. But it was getting closer to me, and it was like being able to be close to a sunset, but it was just more beautiful.
Like the sun?
Yeah, yes.
But not blinding, not hard to look at?
Right, exactly. And it was above me. And as it got closer, I saw a silhouette of what I believe was God. And
looking like what?
It was just an outline of what looked like a person. But it was, the light was, I couldn't see any features. It was just an outline of what looked like a person to me, a very massive person, but just looked like an outline of something.
Because it like was silhouetted against the light, or?
It was like, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if it was this and the light was, or if the light was coming off of, I don't know. But I could only see the outline of what I believe was God.
A person.
And
you think that was Jesus, or?
I think so. I'm not, it was God, whether it was.
You knew it was God.
Yeah. Because, it was God. Because not that I could see him, but it was God's light. I was definitely in the presence of God, for sure.
Did you just intuitively know that, or?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like he declared that, but I knew it. Like, you just know it. You know every fiber in your body that's what that is. That's who that is. But everything around you is like so beautiful. It is. I still struggle to find words because there aren't any.
Yeah, there aren't.
To really explain it, but it was awesome and beautiful. And as it got closer to me, like it was so beautiful. I didn't want to take my eyes off of it, but I also didn't want to look at it either. I felt like, bashful or something. I don't know. Like, I was excited. I still had that like excitement, like that child, like I felt like a child again. I was really alive, and I felt this love and this just overwhelming sense of belonging and love and peace and all the things that I'm sure you've heard. But that was real. Like it there was just no question. It was just so real and infectious, and like you don't ever want to be away from that kind of feeling.
Right.
But in the same sense, you're so humbled by something so powerful. Like, you feel the power and I don't know the word, but it feels massive. And
just the magnificence of the presence.
Yeah, it's unlike, there's nothing like it. There's nothing I've ever felt like that, ever. Not even like a glimpse of it, not even a tiny bit. It's just so extraordinary, being just in the presence of God. And he hasn't even said anything to me. This is just me being me in the presence of God. It was awesome and humbling and all kinds of emotions. And when he got to me, he spoke to me, and he didn't speak like I'm speaking to you. He spoke to me audibly in my heart, in my spirit. And he told me that life back there was about me. He said, love is a choice. I am love. You didn't choose me. I know you because I created you, but you didn't choose me. You missed the boat. So that's the first thing that God said to me, and I was like, oh.
Wow.
Yeah, that was heavy in the sense of, that's the first thing that God wants you to know, is that you didn't choose him, when I just have been shown the truth. It was a heavy moment for me.
The truth about what?
Everything, that he's real, that heaven is real. He's just shown me all these amazing things. I want to be with him because I know he's real now. I want to be with him forever, and I know that's where I belong. But then he's telling me that life back there was about me, and you didn't choose me.
Did he explain what that meant?
He didn't have to.
You knew?
Mm-hmm.
What did you know?
I mean, essentially, I rejected God a lot. He tried to reach out to me a lot in my life.
Did you see that?
I knew. It wasn't like when he said that, I wasn't shocked. I was hurt that I had chose that. And he was hurt. I could feel his sadness because he wanted me so bad. Mm-hmm. And that he did create me. I knew I was home, especially when he spoke. It was like an epiphany I was like, you made me. That I had an epiphany. Or maybe it just, I don't know, but that's when I thought, you made me. And then I felt his hurt because I didn't want him back. And he sacrificed so much for me, and I felt that. And I felt sorry. I was sad that I did that, but I knew immediately, sorry. I knew there was no question. I knew God had tried to reach out to me after I'd experienced all this, and he's saying, you didn't choose me. I knew. I knew that he had tried to reach me a lot.
And you had not
reciprocated it. And I started to repent and just I dropped down to my knees and I just told him I was sorry. And I just couldn't believe I was in a position that I did that to myself. That I'm finding that God is real, and he did like a separation. Like, I didn't see him, but I felt him do this to me. Like, I'm sorry, like.
But you felt his hurt in that?
Mm-hmm.
Almost like he was saying, how did you?
You so bad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you saw the times when he had pursued you? What?
There was a time, there was a thing called SOS my school had. And the Holy Spirit was heavily there. In fact, me and my brother, we both felt it. It was one of the times that the Holy Spirit was very heavy, that it affected me, but then I rejected.
It was like a student thing?
Yeah,
or something?
At school.
And you heard the message?
Yeah, I heard it, and it made me emotional, and I felt like God wanted me to get saved, but I didn't do it. My brother did, but I did. And there was moments like that where God 100% wanted me. He reached for me a lot. He was tapping my shoulder. He chased after me. He really did. And I just didn't reciprocate it out of my own anger or my own worldliness, And so I'm learning the ramifications of what happens when you do that, and that was hard.
I mean, looking back now, because you do love Jesus and you are right with him. What do you think was going on in your head during that time, in your heart?
I mean, I was sorry, truly. I felt.
No, I mean in those times when you rejected him.
Anger. Mm-hmm. I think I was just. It's hard to say because some of it was sadness, some of it was confusion, some of it was like, why do I feel this way? What everybody else believes in God. Am I supposed to believe in God? I don't know. It just feels like a lot. I'm confused. Some of it was just selfishness. Like, that's heavy. I don't like to talk about anything heavy. I don't want to deal with that. There was a lot of times.
Just kind of shutting down on it. And
every time.
Not dealing with it.
Well,
exactly.
I've said this to you, but I think a lot of why he said that to you was not so much for you, but for others who will hear this, who maybe have just been going along like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that was me.
God, I don't know. That was me.
Yeah.
I mean, that was me at your age.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing fine. I don't need God.
Yeah. Like, what is he?
And if there is a God, I'm good. I'll get the pass.
And I did say that. I said, I'm a good person. So, if there's a God, that has to be good enough.
But I think a really important thing that you said to me as well before was, it wasn't that he was rejecting you.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that?
Yeah. I knew it was my own choices. It wasn't like I was shocked by my choices. I was sad that I didn't listen. And he was sad, probably sadder to have to separate from me. And that's what it felt. When he said that to me, I went from feeling on top of the world, the best day of my life, to immediately the worst day of my life. Because I knew I was going to be apart from him. Whatever that meant, I didn't know, but I didn't like that feeling of apartness from him. I didn't want to do that. And he was heartbroken. And I repented for what felt like a long time. I didn't want to make any excuses. And I guess I'd accepted, maybe I deserve to be apart from you. I get it, or something. But I just told him how sorry I was. And he said, you've impacted, is what he said. You've impacted enough of my people that I've heard their prayers for you, and I'm actually going to let you go back.
You've impacted enough of my people. I've heard their
prayers for you. And I was all, okay.
So wow, that chokes me up.
Mm-hmm.
They loved you. You'd been kind to them.
Mm-hmm.
They had prayed for you, and God heard them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to give you another chance.
The power of prayer, it saved me. And the craziest part about it is, on Earth, nobody even knew I was dying yet. So that was a future that he had already seen happening. And what did end up happening is my community pulled through for me, prayed for me, had prayer chains. My community showed up for me with, here I am thinking I'm not loved. I was very loved. It saved my life. So he let me go back. And right before I came back, he said to me, you'll never be able to be perfect. Okay.
Why do you think he says it?
I don't really know why he said that, but I know that I'm very hard on myself, and I have perfectionist tendencies, and probably the same reason why it's taken me 14 years to tell his story, because I'm not good enough or perfect enough.
Yeah.
So I think he knew I was going to struggle with that, and
send it to you in love.
Out of love. A gift,
A gift. Don't put that on yourself. You're not going to be able to be perfect.
Yeah. And so as I was coming back, one thing I do remember right before I was back in my body was the smell of earth was horrible. Like I started to come back, and I remember smelling earth, and it was like, oh, that's what I did. And then back in my body, back in the back of the ambulance. I can't breathe. We've barely moved. And now I'm on this journey. And I did miss one part. He said, before he said, you'll never be able to be perfect, he said, I'm going to let you go back, but you have to stay awake. And if you don't, the cards will lay where they lay.
You have to stay awake.
You have to stay awake. Okay. And if you don't, the cards will lay where they lay. And then he said, you'll never be able to be perfect. And then I was coming back, and I smelt earth for the first time, and it was horrible. And then I'm back in the ambulance, and it's the start of my fighting for my life. Now I'm in the most pain I've ever been.
That's why he told you must stay awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fascinating. We talked about it, off camera, that he seems to work within the laws that he's created.
Science or
and
medicine
even of our bodies and what they're capable of. Mm-hmm. Because I've heard another near-death experiencer that he said almost the same thing. Like, I'm going to heal your brain, and I'm going to put you back in your body, but warning.
Yeah.
You're not going to be under anesthesia when I do. Mm-hmm. And you're going to go through all these surgeries. And
that was exactly what happened to me too. I couldn't be sedated. So I just had to go in and be awake. And I mean, they gave me some kind of something, but it wasn't sedation. And I was awake, but I couldn't open my, I don't really remember exactly the what was going on, but my family could tell you. But I know that they couldn't sedate me because my internal organs had already started shutting down. They knew that wasn't a possibility. So, I was awake. I just couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't communicate until, I tried to convince myself to just, go to sleep, but that came later. But that was, in my first of many surgeries. But once I got into the back of the ambulance, I fought for my life with no help. They dropped me off at a hospital that couldn't give me any help. Couldn't get an ambulance, couldn't get a care flight, couldn't get a hold of the on-call doctors, didn't have utensils to do the surgery. For 5 hours, I just sat like that in that state with lake water in my abdomen, couldn't hardly breathe for 5 hours. And then once 5 hours later, we got help. God told me, you may rest. And that's when I finally let myself fall asleep.
You said the life flight did come. Mm-hmm. And when you got on there, you heard him say...
Yeah, It wasn't until I got to the hospital where I was going, when they were wheeling me in. I was still awake when we got to the hospital, when they were wheeling me in. It was at some point when they were taking me through the trauma center, whatever. He said to me, you may rest. And I was like, okay, gotta go. I'm out. Mm-hmm.
So he was saying, you got to stay awake, because he knew this is not going to be an easy journey with all the complications.
Mm-hmm. How far gone I think your body is.
Yeah. How many surgeries? And
I mean, it depends on what you define as surgeries, because they were having to take what was left of my internal organs, put them on trays, debacterialize them, and put them back in I don't know how often, every hour, for however long, couple, I don't know if it was a week or 8 days or something like that. My white blood cell count was non-existent. I didn't really have any of my own blood in my body. So they were having to act as my white blood cell count to keep me alive. And they were like, she's going to die of infection, if nothing else. She just sat with lake water in her abdomen for 5 hours with nothing to fight off the thousands of bacteria that is in lake water. But I never got infected, never got any.
Well, you are a living miracle sitting here.
Yep.
Yeah.
God wasn't done.
So when you got home from the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
God did a God wink at you.
He sure did, yeah. So, months later, I'm coming home, and I've got a wound vac all the way down from sternum to my belt line. I've got a colostomy bag now. I've got a whole different body that I'm gonna have. It's a long journey ahead. But I walked inside, and there was a sermon on the TV playing, and the sermon said,
and who had turned it on?
It was just on. The TV was just on.
No one was in.
No one was home. Nope, it was just on. And the sermon said, if you're the best person alive, and you go and find the nicest, biggest house you can find, and you knock on the door, and you say, can I live with you? They're going to tell you, hit the road, Jack. I'm probably going to call the cops on you. Get off my property. I don't know you. But if you establish a relationship with these people, and they learn that you're the best person alive, and you're like, hey, can I come live with you? They're probably going to say, yeah, if you've established that relationship. The sermon said, that's how I imagine God is. You can't just come as a stranger and live in his home.
Just because you're a good person.
Just because you're a good person, yep. And
he wants a relationship.
He wants a relationship.
And did you take that from that? Like it was kind of God saying, mm-hmm. I want a relationship.
Yep. And I was like, you got it. So I was like, I need you to call it wasn't really but I had known a youth minister that like all my friends loved. And I'm like, I need you to call him right now. And this is as soon as I get home. It's been a long day. I've been discharged. I got all these injuries.
It's been a long month.
It's been a long time.
Several months.
But I'm like, I need you to get him over here now. I got to get saved now. And my parents were like, I understand, but like, you've been through a lot. Let's wait till tomorrow. I'm like, no, now. So the youth pastor, he comes to my house, and I get saved the night I got home. And the rest it was the start of my walk with God.
And was that when you understood, like, just accepting that Jesus paid for you so that you could have a relationship with God?
Yeah, absolutely. I understood a lot of things, and it took me a long time to unpack everything that I had just experienced. I didn't tell anybody about it for 7 years. And after that.
Not even your mom?
No. And at one point in the hospital, so when God had said, you may rest, when he said that, I actually saw two of my grandparents, my two grandmas.
Who had already died.
My one grandma had just passed away a couple months. So she passed away March 10th, and my accident happened July 1st. She passed away from complications from her colostomy. Mm. She had a polyp, and so she had passed away from getting her colostomy reversed. And then here I am a couple months later as a 19-year-old getting a colostomy bag on. No. And so I saw them in the hospital right before I had fallen asleep. And so I think I might have said, I saw Nana and Nanny, and I met God, and that was it. Like I remember my mom had asked me, what happened? Because I know something happened, and I just couldn't tell her. And then, years of, I have a colostomy, and I have all these surgeries, and I've got all, just learning this new body. I was trying to navigate this new life that I'm living now. And 7 years later, God, he tells me, it's time. You got to go back to where your accident happened. And, at that point I was let the fear of water consume me. I hadn't gone back to a lake. I didn't want to go to a pool. Showering was enough for me. Yeah, showering was enough for me. No bodies of water at all. And so he called me to go back, and I had a friend with a boat, and they took me, and, I went there just not knowing what I was supposed to do, just that I was supposed to go there. And so I went fully clothed because it's 7 years and I'm not going in the water ever again. And we get there and I know exactly where my accident happens. And I asked them, I'm like, can you just give me a moment? And
you're on the boat.
Yeah, I'm on the boat, anchored right where the accident happened. And they're like, yeah, sure. And so I'm in the back and I'm talking to God. I'm like, what do you want? I'm here. I'm afraid. What do you want? And he's like, jump in. I'm like, God, I'm fully clothed.
No.
Yeah, I'm all, what? No, please, anything else? He's like, jump in. It took me an hour, but I jumped in. And when I came back up, my fear of water was completely gone. And he's like, okay, it's time. And so I got my family together.
It's time.
Mm-hmm.
What?
To talk, yeah. And so I knew what he meant when he said it was time. So I got my family together and I told my family for the first time what happened. And that was very interesting, and a lot of tears and, healing in a lot of ways. And that was really the start of me trying to have the courage to tell my testimony. And it's been a long journey. It's been 14 years. I mean, exactly 7 years later. Yeah. And God spoke again and he said, I need you to speak, or stop asking me if you want to help people, because you're not really about it if you don't tell my story.
Mm-hmm. And that was the week I found you had just posted something and I found it and my wife reached out to you.
Yep.
And you're like,
here we go.
We have to do it live. And I'm like, okay, let's figure out a way.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what you want or how or you, whatever, but this is what is.
You felt like he said that to you? You need to do it live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I'm like, he's put it on my heart that I'm supposed to be there, be with you, be with
Well, whoever. I think it's because it has less to do with the video.
Yeah.
And more to do with relationship.
Yeah. Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably exactly that.
Well, Riley, I have no doubt whatsoever, that the reason God sent you back is because he knew you were going to accept him right away. And he didn't want you to reject him. But I think also he has raised you up to be a testimony to your generation. I mean, you're my daughter's age. That's why I keep tearing up too, because I just imagine, all you've been through. But he loves you. You know that.
Yeah.
You know how much he does. And he didn't want to live in that sadness any more than you did.
No.
And that's not going to be the future. But I think even more important, he loves every person just like he loves you.
Yeah. It's not just
me.
And
he doesn't want anyone. So many people I see today, and I know because I was one of them. And especially when you're young, you're like, I don't have to think about death.
Yeah.
That's like decades.
Yeah, that's
you don't know.
Later on in life, that's not true.
You don't know.
It's not true.
Nobody knows. And
no day is guaranteed.
Yeah, no day is guaranteed. But also, I think what you found is, but why do you want to miss out on the best thing that there's ever been?
100%. Because it's a real life. It's not just up in somewhere in the clouds or whatever people think. I don't know. I don't even know what I thought, but it's a place and it's real, and he wants us all there. He loves all of us so much. And I felt that, a glimpse of that. Mm-hmm. And we all should try to be living in that for eternity.
Yeah. Well, And as you discovered, we don't have to be perfect.
Mm-mm.
He even said that.
No perfect people allowed.
And you're not gonna be able to be perfect.
Yeah.
But he's already paid the price to forgive us so we can have a relationship with him through this life.
Yeah.
We don't even have to wait to the next life to experience relationship with them.
Yep. And it's funny because I always say this, and it's real. But after my accident, I became very close with God, and so much to a point where, I'm making a PB&J sandwich, and I'm all, God, which piece do you want the peanut butter and which piece do you want the jelly on? And he's like, okay, you can make that decision. But that's,
Well,
there's
funny. There's a proverb that says, I don't want you to be like a mule with a bridle and bit.
Right.
Meaning he created us free.
Yeah.
He wants us to work with his will and with him.
Yeah.
Not just be puppets.
And that's what he made me feel is, girl, come on. You're doing too much, Yeah.
You can handle that.
Exactly. That's what he was like, okay, you're overthinking it, but I appreciate it, so.
If there was one last thing you could say to people who will watch this, the Rileys or others, the world, what would you tell them?
Don't miss that boat. There's something really beautiful and not scary and amazing that's waiting for us if you want it. It's your choice.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't advise it.
Yeah.
I'd advise getting on that boat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking time and sharing.
I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. And I appreciate what you're doing and helping people like me feel seen and be able to have people to tell, talk to and tell what's happened. So I appreciate you.
We're all just doing our part, telling his story.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Exactly.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.